Good morning and welcome. Now, I hope you've got your brain. Remember that big, fabulous brain of yours, and you focus just for half an hour. And we're going to do some maths. 2 pens, so you've got one which is a different colour for marking. Your book, hopefully, if you've got one, a notebook. Squared paper, even better. Don't forget your margin. Nice margin down the left-hand side. So you're numbering all your questions, so it makes it much easier when it comes to mark. Well, I think we can probably get started because most of you know the setup by now. Here's the grid, the 10 by 10 grid that we're going to be filling in as we go. I think we're actually halfway through. So let's do a few shout outs to start, and then we're going to get started. So I've got loads actually. So forgive me if I don't get a chance to do your name. I'll try and do it later. So I've got Adam in year 3. He's in Dagenham. Welcome to Adam. I've got Ava, who's in year 6. She's going to be doing it later on catch up because she is at school today. I've got Iga. Iga, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. You're 8 years old and you're in Greenwich. Welcome, Iga. I have Josie all the way in Hoylake. She is 13. Welcome to Josie. I have Jake in year 5, who is in East London. I have Amaya, I have Oscar, I have Rose E, I have Sapphire, Dan Fan, welcome Dan Fan, I have Betty, and I have Jagger, and I have the Hungry Buddha, and it says, it's me, Ishani, and Ishani is in year 5. She lives in Rotherham, near Sheffield, so welcome to Ishani. Fabulous. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now you will recall yesterday you had 5 questions that I left you to do as a review exercise. Let's go through those 5 questions. The prime numbers between 30 and 50. Remember, a prime number only has 2 factors, only 2 factors, 1 and itself. So the answers are 31, 37, 41, 43, and 47. And remember, 1 is not a prime number. Question 2, what is the square of 11 divided by the square root of 121? A little bit of a trick question here, because the square of 11 is 121. The square root of 121 is 11. So our answer is 11. We want the prime factors of the number 324. We've done that a couple of times on the board now. And those prime factors are 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 3. And if we took those 6 numbers and we multiplied them all together, we'd get back to 324. Question 4, the square root of 500 falls between which 2 whole numbers? It falls between 22 and 23. Question 5. 1/3 of the animals in Jacob's flock are goats. The rest are sheep. There are 12 more sheep than goats. How many animals are there altogether in Jacob's flock? There are 36 animals altogether. Okay. If you managed to do those yesterday, then I'd love to know what score you got. Pop it in the chat. And we're going to start with our first 10 questions. Let's go. 30 seconds remaining. Okay, fantastic. We're moving on to part 2. Just a reminder, you do not need to do the questions in order. So do the easiest questions first. Thirty seconds to go on part 2. Moving on to part 3. Okay, you're down to your last 30 seconds. Right, I'm afraid you're out of time. We need to stop there and we're going to go through some answers. So you don't need to see me, do you? I didn't need to do that. Let's go back to our screen. Part 1. Let's read through those answers. Question 1 is 57. Question 2 is 44. Question 3 is 7. Question 4 is 12. Question 5 is 4. Question 6 is 32. Question 7 is 5. Question 8 is 27.13. Question 9 is 26. And question 10, our parents versus kids challenge, is 20. Okay, answers to part 2. We have 2,260. Question 2 is 56. Question 3 is 197. Question 4 is 2. Question 5 is 33.26. Question 6 is 226. Question 7 is 1. Question 8 is 2. Question 9 simplifies down to 7/9. And our parents versus kids challenge, 2.5 subtract 3/4 gives us 7/4. That is a SATS special. That's one of the tricky questions that comes right at the end of the Key Stage 2 SATS paper and also appears regularly in Key Stage 3. You can also write that answer as 1 3/4. Either is absolutely fine. Okay, finally, part 3. We have question 1, 23. Question 2 is 4. Question 3 is 10. Question 4 is 31.5. Question 5 is 20. Question 6, 54. Question 7, 5. Question 8, 96. Question 9, 3. And the parents versus kids challenge. Again, it's a SATS special. It's one of those tricky questions that comes right at the end of the SATS paper and also appears on the Key Stage 3 scheme of work. We had 32% of £450, which is £144. Right. Let's do some learning on the board. Forward a little bit. Right. That will come later, don't worry. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to take a look. Oh, I've forgotten to do my post-it notes. Can I tell you why I've forgotten to do my post-it notes? Come over here, come over here, come over here. There's a reason why I forgot to do my post-it notes, because my little helper here keeps reminding me that I need to do something. And if you haven't done this at home, you need to do it now. Pinch, punch, first of the month. Right, go away. Okay, let's do our board. We forgot to do our board. 1st of July. Can you believe that it's the 1st of July? That's crazy, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. So let's get our stickers and put them up on the board. Rose is going to read out the numbers for me. We're going to do it super quickly. Let's go. Whoops. So we have, Rose, you're going to read out the numbers. So okay. 57.
44.
57.
44.
44. Cover them up on your grid if you've got one. Done 7.
12.
Done 12.
Done 12. 4.
Yep, done 4.
32.
32. Done it.
5.
Done it.
27.
27. Brilliant. Keep
26.
going. 26. Yeah.
20.
We've got 20. Oh, no, we haven't got 20.
Got 20.
Right, okay. Brilliant. Next board. Go.
Part
go.
two.
Go. Part 2.
Okay. 2,260.
Yeah, that's not on it.
56.
56. Yeah.
Oh, well done. 197.
Keep going.
2.
Keep going.
33.
33,
226.
yeah, got it. 30.
1, 2.
28 over 36. Maybe 26. No, it's gone. Forget it. Keep going. And
7
7
over
over 4. We
9.
can't do that. 7 over 9.
7 over 4.
Right, last
Okay.
board. Let's go.
So 23.
23. Yeah.
4. 10. 31.
Hold
20.
on. 4, 10, 31. Yeah, keep going.
54. 54.
54. Yeah.
5.
5.
Done.
Yeah, done it.
96. Done.
96.
3 done. 144. Not on the board.
Oh, not on the board. Brilliant. See how quick it is when I've got my helper. Excellent. Let's keep going. Okay. I'm back. So the first question we're going to look at is from that review exercise yesterday. It's question 4, and I'll write it up on the board if you didn't get a chance to do it. It's a bit of a tricky question. It's about square roots. And we're going to do a really, really nice trick around square roots today. Okay, so the question was, the square root of 500 falls between which 2 whole numbers? Now, I don't know my square roots going that high, but there is a trick I'm going to show you later, but I'm going to show you a slightly different way of doing it right now. So, I do know that 50 multiplied by 10 gives me 500. But remember, these 2 numbers need to be the same. A square number is a number multiplied by itself gives you the square number. So we must have these 2 numbers the same. So we want them closer together. So I still don't know the solution, but I do know that if I halve 50 and I double 10 to get 20, I am still going to get 500. Isn't that a lovely little trick? If you halve one number and double the other number, then you're still going to get the same answer. Really handy trick. It means you can do your mental maths much more easily. So 25 multiplied by 20 gives me 500. So 20 and 25 are not the same number, but they are definitely closer together. So now we're going to take a guess and we're going to say, well, maybe it might be 22. It might be 23, but somewhere in the middle of 20 and 25. So let's have a go quickly and see what happens if we multiply 22 by 22. I'm not going to do all the multiplication now because you guys can do that in your own time. You get 484. If you do 23 multiplied by 23, you get 529. Okay, so you can now see that the square root of 500 falls between 22 and 23. And we stop. That is our answer. We don't need to know exactly what it is. We're just saying it's somewhere between 22 and 23. All right, so that's our first question. Let's take a look at the next one. Again, apologies, I need to clear the board, but remember, you can pause this. You can watch it back and pause it if you don't get a chance to write everything down. Okay, next question. We have, what is the square root of 400? Now, some of you might actually know what the square root of 400 is, but I'm going to show you a technique to work it out. So the square root of, whoops, my pen's running out, the square root of 400. Well, we could do what we've just talked about, that it would fall somewhere between 40 and 10, and we could play around and maybe find out what the solution is that way. But I want to show you a different way, okay? So remember, we've done a couple of lessons on prime factors. So we're going to use those prime factors now to show us how to solve this. And then you might get a trickier question that you can't do, but using prime factors, suddenly now you can. So watch this. So here's my 400. I'm going to draw my factor tree. Remember, it's an upside down tree. The tree's branches go down instead of up. And my daughter calls it a weeping willow tree, because if you've ever seen a weeping willow tree, the branches come down, don't they? And sometimes they even touch the floor. So this is our weeping willow factor tree. So we know that 40 multiplied by 10 is going to give us 400. Let's keep going, because neither of those numbers are prime numbers, and we want to find our prime factors. We know that 40 is, I don't know, let's do 4 times 10 again. Let's make it easy. We know that 10 is 2 multiplied by 5. Those are both prime numbers, so I can put circles around them and I can stop. I haven't got prime numbers here yet, so let's have a look. I've got a 2 here and a 2 here, and then same as over here, I've got 2 and I've got 5. So now all my numbers are prime, I can stop. But now here comes the clever trick. Okay, I've got 2, 2, 2, 2, and I've got 5 and 5. Normally when we write out prime factors, we write them out smallest to largest. But this time I'm going to do a little bit of a trick. I'm going to pair the numbers together. So I'm going to say I've got 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5. Okay, so let's tick off those. Doesn't matter which ones I tick off really. And then a 2 and a 2 and a 5. 2, 2, 5. Now this is where the trick comes in. 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5 gives me 20. Whoops. And can you see that? Just about. 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 gives me 20. So we've worked out what the square root of 400 is, because 20 multiplied by 20 gives us 400. And you can work out literally, it doesn't matter how massive the square number is. It could be 5 or 6 digits long. If you use this same principle, you can work out the square root of any number. Okay, let's keep going. We have, this is part 1, question 8. If I move the board over, just in case you're still noting that down, then I can leave it on the board a little bit longer. So part 1, question 8. So we've done this one before, or a similar one rather. But I just wanted to show it you again in case not everyone's had a chance to see it. Because I love this. I love this. It takes something that feels impossible. My brain can't comprehend how to divide by 0.1. Now, some of you absolute superstars might know, well, I know that dividing by 0.1 is the same as multiplying by 10. But not everybody knows that. And when we look at that, I can divide by 2 and 3. That's quite straightforward. It makes sense. It's like sharing out a big bag of sweets between 2 or 3 people. But this is much harder to get our brain around. So this is where, if you recall last week, we turned it into a fraction. So watch this. We can write any division calculation as a fraction. So 2.013 divided by 0.1. If I multiply my numerator and my denominator by 10, hopefully you can just about read that, then I'm suddenly going to get 20.13 divided by 1. which of course is 20.13. Okay, so something that sounds really, really hard, actually by turning it into a fraction, we can make it into quite an easy calculation. And there you go. See, I said some of you might know that dividing by 0.1 is the same as multiplying by 10 because we are carrying out the reciprocal operation. Here, you can see that what we've done is we've multiplied the numerator and the denominator by 10. It's given us 20.13. I hope that helps. Right, let's go back to this side of the board. I'm going to clear the board a little bit now. Okay, so let's move on. This is part 2, question 10. Remember, that was our parents versus kids challenge, but it was also one of those really tricky questions that are under the SATs papers and also appear on the Key Stage 3 papers. So let's have a look. We have got 2. Oh dear, my pen is running out. I'm trying another one. 2.5. Can you read that? Just about. 2.5. We are subtracting 3 quarters. I'm going to show you how to do it mathematically. Is that better? I'm going to show you how to do it mathematically, but I'm also going to show you how to draw it, because often with fractions, it can really, really help if we draw them out. Okay, so 2.5 subtract 3 quarters. The first thing I'm going to do is turn this into an improper fraction. It's a mixed number at the moment. So I'm going to do 2 multiplied by 2. I'm going to add on 1. That gives me 5/2. And then I'm going to subtract 3 quarters. But I'm still struggling. I'm really still struggling, because to do addition or subtraction, I need to have the denominator the same. The number of slices in my pizza or my cake has to be the same. And when we draw it out, hopefully that will be a bit clearer. So I need to use equivalent fractions to turn 5/2 into 10/4. And now, because my denominator is the same, I can subtract my numerators, and I'm going to have 7/4 as my answer. Let's see if we can draw it out, see if it helps us. And then I think, sadly, we're going to be out of time. So I have 2.5. So imagine I have 2.5 pizzas. Now you have to assume that those are all perfectly drawn and they're all exactly the same size. These two are the same, and this is half of this. So just bear with me on that. Right, those are my 2.5 pizzas. I need to take away 3 quarters. So I now need to turn my pizzas into quarters so I can see how many quarters I've got. Okay, so I've got 4 quarters. Again, they should be absolutely identical sizes. You would not be happy if you were sharing a pizza and you didn't get the same sized slice as your brother or sister, would you? So you want to assume that these are all exactly the same size. And then here we've got 2 quarters, haven't we? And now we're going to take away 3 quarters of them. We're going to eat 3 quarters of them. So we're going to get rid of 1. We're going to get rid of 2. And we're going to get rid of 3. So hopefully you can now see what we've got left is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarters. Okay, brilliant. So our image, our diagram exactly matches the calculation we did on this side. Now remember, when I read out the answer, I also explained that you could write it as mixed numbers as well. So if we go back to our picture, you can see that we've got 1 whole pizza here, or 4 quarters. So that is also, we can write as 1, and then we've got 3 quarters left here. So we can write our 7/4 as 1 whole pizza, 3/4. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Right, we are running out of time. My goodness, we've done loads of maths today and I've been having so much fun. Got a bit carried away and we've started to run out of time. And I've got a message from my daughter over there, which I'm going to pick up in 1 second. But before I do that, I need to put up your review questions. So I'll give you a few minutes to write those down. We'll be going through the answers to those tomorrow. Right, just whilst you're writing those down, let me see if I have got any more shout outs to do. Let's have a look and see. Have I got any extras, Rose? Help me out. We've got a list. Okay, we have Aliha. You're back again. Fabulous to see you again. Lucas, also known as Extreme Everything. Fantastic to see you as well. And I think I've covered off everybody else. I do hope so. If I haven't, pop your name in the chat and I will make sure you get a shout out for tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to finish our lesson now. I'm going to just pop up that 1 to 100 grid if you want to get that drawn down in your book so we can continue to tick off those questions every day. If you're still writing these down, then just pause the video. And thank you again for your time. Great to see you again tomorrow. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.